out here, straight up Cali, let's go. Straight up Cali, sun's blazing high.
Greetings, good people. Welcome to another episode of Leaders and Learners, where we all know that the best leaders are lifetime learners. And today we have two amazing individuals that are doing great things in the Black media space and in their own independent spaces. So it can't be anything but spectacular today. I want you to learn, I want you to listen, and I want you to connect with Miss Sarah Fontenot and Demetri Wiley. Hey.
What's up? Please excuse this voice, okay? I lost my voice a little bit. I'm a little hoarse, but the show must go on. And I know Demetri and I are honored to be here with you today.
I appreciate that so much. Yeah, I appreciate that. Demetri, where are you at right now?
I'm currently in Atlanta, Georgia. I have residency here as well as Chicago, Illinois.
Okay. Chi-Town. Are you a Chicago Bears fan?
I try to be. When they're not letting me down, I try to be, I think that's
I love it. And Sarah, where are you?
I'm currently in Atlanta as well.
Okay.
But I come from Canada, by way of LA, kind of.
I love it. Oh, wait, the LA part. When did you leave LA?
I left, this month will be 3 years ago. I was there for 15 years.
Okay. Wow. Where at? What part? I got to ask.
Well, I started in Hollywood because I'm a cliche. I moved there to become an actress, right? And then I just kept going more south. I went from Hollywood to downtown LA to Compton to Long Beach. And then I was in Torrance for about 8 years.
Okay. So you have a little South Bay experience. I'm in Redondo Beach.
I love Redondo Beach.
Yeah. So if you come back, we must connect. We must.
Yes.
But let's definitely get into, wait, what's your football team? Why is he laughing?
What is my football team? The one that plays football.
That's why I was laughing.
The team, all teams. I am team sport football. Don't know a single player though. I don't know. I got nothing.
It's all good. It's all good. I just wanted to know if I was going to just talk trash to Demetri or both of y'all gonna get it, because Chicago, come on, man, stop it. But actually, they've been doing really well. They have a wonderful young quarterback, wonderful Black quarterback that's doing great things.
Right.
Since we are on sports, I do have to ask y'all, how do you feel, and be as transparent as possible, about media coverage around Black players? I have a really big issue. I think they get covered tougher than others. And I want to know, from your perspective in the work that you do you feel like it's fair or not so much? And feel free to lean into that.
Me, myself, I personally believe it's about as fair as everything has been for Black culture. It is ridiculously unfair. The idea from the questions, it was recently a clip going around of Shedeur Sanders, and he was talking to a well-known media creator, and he said, "You honestly has never had anything good to say about me ever." And I don't know if you guys seen it, but Shedeur Sanders actually showed out his first preseason game, throwing 2+ touchdowns, and I love that, because that's exactly what we must do in order to combat the way they kind of see us, from the actual player to what happens after they're a player. Every angle of it is actually been pretty negative, and I just love that we have athletes able to stand up and fight against it. But when we make mistakes, it's a lot louder than everything is for every other athlete, and I just hate that part.
Sarah?
Yeah, I definitely agree. And, I just saw a clip not too long ago, and it was an interview after a game with Angel Reese and her teammate. And one of the reporters had asked a question about her and her attitude, and why does she feel like she gets to be essentially as unapologetic and confident as she was, which that in itself is an issue. But I love the fact that her teammate stopped the interview and said, "How old are you?" And Angel Reese said, "I'm 23. She's like, she's a kid. She's out here being the way that she is because you guys are constantly picking at the way that she is. So if she has walls around her, or if she seems a little unapproachable, or if she seems like she has to be strong or tough, it's because she does. Because she's not getting questions about the sport. She's getting questions about why is she showing up the way that she is? Why is she dressing or doing or acting the way that she is? And that's the quintessential issue with a lot of things where it comes to Black anything versus most other, ethnicities and races.
It feels like when something goes wrong with others, they're just passionate or they're having a bad day. But when it happens to us, we are violent and aggressive and unhinged and unprofessional. I want to know how much of that in this type of conversation you guys take to Truth Talks in your own podcast platforms.
I think for me personally, all of it, every single angle. I believe there is a precedent that we must set for ourselves in order to move forward and navigate what they actually expect from our culture. They expect Black men to be angry, and I'm aware of this. They expect Black men to be absent. I'm very aware of this. They expect us to not be proud of ourselves. I actually hate the word humble, and I always have. They pushed it on us as this thing to kind of entrap our confidence. How am I wrong? I recently watched the Kanye West documentary, and to see how relentlessly, I don't even call it arrogance, just his belief in self, how far that pushed him forward. We all looked at Kanye West because of the, arrogance and showboating and all of these things that he eventually turned into, despite, after the lapse of his mother. But for me personally, I've always hated the word. And I try to move as if I'm aware that they're judging us off this scale. And I advocate that for every single person that's living in this culture and this space specifically.
I feel like modesty promotes invisibility. When they want us to be modest, they're basically saying they want us to shut up. They want us to disappear into the background. They want us to not brag and give ourselves accolades. I've been in public relations and media for a very long time. And I telling you, I have seen mediocre white men brag about stuff that they've done a decade ago, but want us to be humble about something big that we've accomplished recently. It's the weirdest thing. I don't know, Sarah.
Yeah, well, that's one of the reasons why I personally agreed to come onto the show, because Truth Talks is a very provocative series, because it's literally like the happy hour after the happy hour when like you're into like your first drink. It's really just like family sitting there talking with their BFFs, but we go deeper than just the headlines and the latest tea, right? This is where intellect is going to meet real talk, and we do not always agree. And one thing, because we're all coming from the diaspora, the spectrum of what it means to be Black. So when people say angry Black woman, or when people say aggressive Black man, I don't even subscribe to that story. I'm so unapologetic inside of my message with my own platform, and people love me or they hate me. But I feel like if I live inside of those guidelines, which is why I love this show, because I'm going to speak my truth. This is real truth talking, right? If I have to live inside of, oh my God, they're going to think I'm angry, they're going to think I'm aggressive, then now the pieces of me, the most original essence of me, is now shifting because I'm trying to fit into a box that I was never meant to be inside of. And so for me, it reminds me of my parents. Growing up, I'm hard-headed, right? I've always been hard-headed. I've always been a critical thinker. And, my dad used to joke with my mom and say, can we just kill her? Can we just throw her off of a cliff? No one would know. And my mom was like, my mom and would laugh with him. And it was this ongoing joke. And obviously I didn't know at the time, but learning as an adult, they would tell me. And my mom has always said, Sarah, we had to be very careful with you, because there's a difference between discipline and breaking your spirit. And we never wanted to break your spirit. And so these disciplines, these rules, these boxes that we're all supposed to fit into, I will never let them break my spirit. And so being okay with yourself enough, loving yourself enough, holding yourself accountable to live inside of the word that you speak makes it that much easier. And that's why I love Truth Talks.
I love that. So let's get into it. Listen, we all know that there's an attack on Black media. We know that. It doesn't matter how much they deny it. Okay. We know that. It's not even overt. It's not passive. It's aggressive right now. It's very aggressive. It's budget cuts. it's stories being minimized, it's voices being silenced. Okay. What's the most dangerous form right now of erasure you see happening in the media?
Oh, I think the most dangerous form that I can speak on is the idea of perception. They control perception. So the idea of telling every other culture or location or media that Black people are angry and they're violent and they're this, that's what they're pushing. They shadow ban everything else, like the people on these networks who are actually speaking positivity, like Joy Reid and Don Lemon. So my thing about it is, it's the idea of the media pushing forward the negativity. They're taking the narrative and they're pushing forward what they choose to push forward. And I think that's the thing I love about Truth Talks most. Not only is it telling the exact story, but it's also doing it from a bunch of different perspectives. Like there's people on the show, like Torre, for example, Dr. Bryant, and even Miss Sarah. There's things we actually speak on that we only have the perspective to explain. And I love the fact that we can actually tap into the chat and they jump in so freely. We love to hear from the chat. They jump in so freely saying, oh, I relate, or I don't relate, or can you explain, or XYZ. And to me, it's what you push forward, all of the shadow banning. I think that's the most dangerous thing going on right now.
Ah, yes. And Miss Sarah.
Yeah, I think the most dangerous part of the erasure inside of Black media is that Black people are not working together. You
Mm,
know, I love the fact that we are on a Black owned company, on a Black platform, and we are creating what we are creating together. Because again, I'm from Canada, so I have a Canadian Black experience, which is very different from Demetri, who grew up in Chicago, right? And so what I think the issue is, there's not enough of us coming together to create consistent, good, constant information, because we're all looking for the approval of those that may not be of our skin tone or skin color. So I think that honestly is one of the most dangerous parts, because there can be a level of a crabs in a bucket mentality, which is understandable, right? There is that chip on the shoulder, which is understandable, right? But it's like, how do we get past that? Because I truly believe that as a race, if we came together, if we leveraged a real economy that we built together, nobody could touch us. There's not a single ethnic group, race, group period that could touch us. But the problem is, we are so okay being pacified with temporary pleasures that we never actually get to the root of the issue to address that. That's what I think is the real issue here.
do you think that's fear, though? Do you think there's more balance? Can you balance out the fear with the wanting to capitulate or fit in? Because we talk often about us being unified, but history also shows when we're unified what they've done to us, right? So do you think there's a level of fear, or is it really just people trying to capitulate to whiteness?
I think yes, you can contribute some degree of fear, but I think it's more so tied to disbelief. Like
Okay.
you are completely unfamiliar with what you have not seen,
Mm,
and a lot of people from where I grew up, I can't speak to firmly on other people's perspective, but from where I grew up, you fail to believe in unity because you've never been raised in unity. You fail to believe in innovation in your culture because you've never seen innovation in your culture. I'm a firm believer that it lives in your mind until it becomes reality. A lot of people don't think that way, and it's causing people to see what they see on TV or what they see on their phones, and they're saying, "Okay, I see this. This must be my reality," and they're not doing anything to change it. But I do think fear is attached to that.
so how do we get past it? I don't want to just complain,
I
because
think
we do have the Amanda Seals and folks that are always doing their best to break us down. However, there has to be solutions that we can contribute to and contribute our voices to.
Yeah,
absolutely.
go ahead, Dimitri.
No, I saw you.
Okay, great. I think that one thank you. I think that one of the things that would be great is for us to have leaders that are clothed, for us to have leaders that that can carry themselves with class and elegance. It's not necessarily, because honestly, right now, especially in our generation, and that's what I love, we are a multi-generational Black voice on Truth Talks. What I love is that Demetri and I have a much younger perspective than some of our counterparts or guest hosts that come onto the show. And so we know how much the media really kind of it decides what us as people kind of decide. So now when you have little girls that are looking to be strippers, when you have little girls that now think that prostitution, this transactional dating experience is what they're supposed to do, forget the man, get to the bag, sis. We have literally uprooted over the last 30 years what it really looks like to be a Black family. And so I think that it starts with people being cool enough in the forefront where we're able to say, oh my God, I love that this woman is dressed well. She's not showing absolutely everything and she's speaking well. And that's perceived as cool. And so I think that we all have our own little lanes, but how do we bring our little lanes together to create just a more amplified impact to our young people? Because our young people are being shaped by Sexy Red. They're being shaped by rappers that I can't name. They're being shaped by all of these different things that are the cool thing. I'm telling you, I talk about this on the show all the time. I'm telling you, Tanya, I'm so tired of seeing booty cheeks in the grocery store. Girl, I can't stand it. Why? There's a time and a place for everything. I'm sick of it.
Oh no, some of the stuff that be going on ain't even a place for it, but behind closed doors. And it's hard to watch because we were taught different. And I think that's where I struggle and why I support your network so much, because I feel like we are in an anti-intellectual movement and we were not raised that way. It was a wonderful thing to strive to go to college, even if you didn't, to read books, to become an intellectual, which really meant you're a thinker. And now we're in a time where thinking is a problem. And I'm like, actually, who raised you?
Right.
But it's a problem for saying that.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I think just to Sarah's point, it's about bridging the gap. I think it's finding leadership and voices that actually resonate large enough to reach these younger generations. And I love the fact that they've included us as the younger generation, like Miss Sarah said, but with over 10 million subscribers, per all platforms, we're doing just that. And there's even on the show, if you tune into the show, you can literally watch me and Sarah teaching things to Torre and Dr. Brian, like lingo or language that they just may not understand. But I think it's about bridging the gap between the two, because if you pay attention to it, like we spoke about on the show, there's not leadership like we used to have back in the day. Yep. There's no Malcolm X's or Martin Luther Kings and things of that nature. And if there is, they're not in public eye. And, now it's about finding ways to put them in public eye. And I love the fact that we include so many people on Truth Talks, from DL Hughley to past guests like Shaq and Ray J, those who are actually tapped in, Mark Lamont Hill. There's a bunch of people. The list goes on, but it's about finding people who have the voice to reach that younger generation.
Okay, well, let's take this a little deeper. Recognizing that Black legacy media has carried our culture for decades. We could talk about Jet, Ebony, BET, yada, yada. But the digital interruption has shifted power and we are falling behind in digital. Yes. Okay. Do you think we are at risk for losing control of our narratives in the algorithm era?
Absolutely. Because everyone is famous now. Literally, like I was just having this conversation. I was at the Live Golf and I was talking with a guy named Ross. He's an actor. He's inside of oh my God, Flash, right? Mm-hmm. And so we were having a conversation and we were talking about actors. And I was like, oh, I know that actor, but I can't remember his name. He said, do you understand that these are the actors and actresses that Hollywood is trying to push the most, and you can't even remember their name? People know TikTokers more than they know Hollywood famous people. Whereas back in the day, we all knew Halle Berry, Angelina Jolie, Brad Pitt, George Clooney, Denzel Washington. We all knew who the famous people were. And the problem is right now, because you got to remember who's leading our generation. Our generation is being led by women that are saying, Forget the man, sis. Get to the bag. Get to the bag. Nothing else matters. Promiscuity is glorified, right? Because that's the message that's happening right now. It's what these TikTokers are now doing. Now we got little 12-year-olds, 14-year-olds, 16-year-olds twerking in booty shorts on TikTok. And that's what gets millions and millions and millions of views. And those are the new famous people. So I think, again, it goes back to the leadership that is spearheading what it is that we're seeing and watching. And that's really the only way for the people that are perceived as cool to come together, even though they're not necessarily, the most provocative, although our words can be very provocative because our show is provocative. But I say that to say that it's not until we really start coming together more and more and more that we'll be able to, because I don't think you'll ever be able to completely outweigh the other side, because negativity is natural. You have to be positive on purpose. People love the drama. So, there is that aspect of things, but it's a challenge. It really is.
It's heartbreaking because I asked my daughter something about Halle Berry. She said, "Who is that?" And I told her to get her stuff and sleep in the garage. I mean, shit is unacceptable. Pardon my French. Like, come on.
Yeah, I agree. But I think at that point we turn to ownership. You look at what's owned by us, because those are the narratives we actually can control. No matter how many positive, uplifting Black cultural things we do, if we don't support those things, then no one will. Just like they have an algorithm, they control what gets shadow banned and all these things like that. We have the eyes. Without the eyes, there's nothing. If you look at the most popular people in Black culture, like the ones they do know these days, the Twitchers, the Casanets, and the iSpeeds, and all those people, it's because they have eyes. So everybody's tuning in to push their brain through them and all these things of that nature. If you look, even what we spoke about on Truth Talks, what Black culture did to Target. It's things like that. We have power, but disassembled, we don't. It's when they actually click up and unify. And that's what's amazing about Truth Talks. Like you said, it's Black ran. Major shout out to Emmy Award winning Jody Gomes, because she's doing a phenomenal job. Every episode, she was yelling at me like, "Say what you gotta say. Be yourself." Yeah. I think I love that, because even in moments I was holding back, she was telling me somebody needs to hear exactly what you're saying. And it's a beautiful thing.
Do you guys have kids?
No.
Neither one of you have kids?
I do. I have a kid.
How old?
I have a 6-year-old who just turned 6, August 9th. He just started first grade yesterday, and I'm love it. Terrifying.
So my question is, you need to be, because how we are cultivating the next generation is important. So between the work that you are doing and the future that you want to see, how are you using Truth Talk and your own platforms to help cultivate the next generation of Black leaders?
I think my son actually made a guest appearance on a Truth Talks episode. Casually snuck in there, the people loved it, so I'll take it. But for me, I think it's about bringing that authenticity, the actual realness, the vulnerability. I think our space lacks, and not Truth Talks, just Black culture in general. We fear vulnerability, and being vulnerable in moments you've actually gotten to experience it, whether it's parenting or whether it's your parents looking at that. It's actually about spewing the message so people can learn from your mistakes. People vocally say, okay, this is what I'm doing, and they preach their accomplishments. But in your mistakes, how are you teaching? In saying, I don't know, but I'm gonna try to figure it out. I've been on Truth Talks episodes where I'm being explained something from a perspective I've never had to learn. And I think that's the beauty of it. A child could tune in and learn so much in an episode. And I'm very proud of that.
Yes.
Sarah?
Yeah, for me, I'm probably the most conservative voice on Truth Talks. I always say I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I'm opinionated. I'm not blue. I'm not red. I'm purple, right? And so I think that I too will catch a lot of flack, but I just believe so much in 100% responsibility and accountability, because that's where the power is. And so my message is inside of taking accountability for all things, even when it's not necessarily your fault. There's no power inside of fault. So how do we fix it? Okay, yes, it was my fault. Doesn't matter. How do we fix it? What's the solution? What's the exit strategy? And so I talk a lot about that, but I catch a lot of flack in these comments now, because people will be like, girl, you can't say that. No, I said it, and I said it from my chest. Whatever it is, I just believe in like taking the power. And so that I'm the same way I am on my podcast, the same way I am with Truth Talks. I love getting a chance to battle with Demetri, Dr. Bryant, Torre, me and Torre, because Torre is so liberal minded. I'm pretty sure he's so liberal. He's so liberal minded, but I love that he stands in his truth. You know, you have Dr. Bryant. She's a little bit of both, right? And depending on where she's at, that's what you're going to get. And it's great. Me and her have had some pretty heated debates as well. Me and Demetri, sometimes he be giving me this face.
You gotta, it's disbelief. You know,
I'm like, okay, sir. But I love that at the end of the day, that's why self-love, self-awareness, self-accountability is so important, because on our show, there is a voice that any Black person can relate to. Whether you came from nothing and built something, whether you're going through it, whatever it may be, that's what I really love about this show, is that, again, you have to find the people that you want to subscribe to their story. Right? Some narratives, I don't subscribe to things I don't want to see. I don't follow things I don't want to see. And I love that you have 4, and oftentimes with a lot of amazing co-hosts. Demetri named some. DL Hughley just went crazy viral. We go viral all the time because we're blazing our own trail, coming together, creating a real impact inside of Black media. And we fully intend on continuing to do so with Truth Talks.
This is crazy. I could talk to y'all for the longest time, but I do want the audience to know that this woman right here, she has a self-help guide. You can get it off her website. And I think that's important because all the little lessons that she talks about starts with self. It's like self-love, self-confidence, self-control, which a lot of y'all don't have. But all that being said, it starts with you. Yes. But I do want to ask you, I haven't watched you guys cover this on the show, but I'm LA County Commissioner of Alcohol and Other Drugs, and we deal a lot with alcohol and drug issues, substance abuse disorder. And from your perspective, let me know if you think media can be better used to solve some of these issues, or if this is just a self problem that people need to figure out on their own. We don't need to talk about it. You hurt yourself. That is what it is, because that's another mindset that people are going to, and how you use this platform to address some of the very damaging issues in our communities.
You know, I think, yes, the answer is yes. It's absolutely able to make change. You are absolutely able to make change via platforms and using that voice. I think everything is, to a degree, can be a cope. When we think of things like alcoholism and drug abuse and all of these things, I think it's highly important that you have these conversations. And we have had a ton of these conversations on Truth Talk, not specifically that regard, but like single parenting and all those other things. This is the place you come to when you need a perspective on things of that, because we've all experienced such. My grandfather struggled with alcoholism his entire life. As long as I've known him, I've never had a sober grandchild to grandson relationship. So I think, in my opinion, it is quintessential for you to preach this. It is quintessential for you to speak on it. It's absolutely necessary and needed. I was recently hit up to actually bridge the gap, and I can't say too much because we're working the details of it out, but to bridge the gap between child support, of what the idea and narrative of that is. So to help fathers who no longer want to be fathers understand how helping your child is absolutely necessary, and erase the stigma of actually like what's surrounding the negative connotations to it. But I've always been doing that on Truth Talks the entire time. I think as much as it is your problem, it's the world's problem to aid, and that's what Truth Talk does.
Sarah, thoughts?
Yeah, my biggest thought is that I personally am not a big drinker. It's so rare. I don't drink. I don't smoke. If I want to, like I really want to, then I will. But that's so few and far in between that for me, it's important for people to hear that, because I think that a lot of the times people are drinking because they think they're supposed to, because they don't know that it's okay to say, no, I don't want that. And it's not because I've ever been an alcoholic. It's because I literally do not understand the point of drinking alcohol unless your intention is to get tipsy or drunk. If you have a drink at dinner, you're literally paying to kill yourself. You've just tripled your bill. And like, for me, it doesn't make sense. Now, if the intention is to get lit, Do you, boo? I hope it's a good time. But if that's not the intention, I don't get it. And so I think that inside of having conversations like this, we're able to let someone else know that there are people out here like you that don't really like to drink. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think that, again, this goes back to the spectrum of the Black experience. There are people that drink, and look, I'm just going to say this, I might get eaten alive in your comments, Tanya, but I think that getting drunk really often throughout the week is a mental illness. Because what are you numbing yourself from? What are you hiding from? What are you afraid to deal with? Why do you feel like you need to get out of character that much? I have questions for these people, nor do I trust those people, but that's me because I'm not a drinker. That doesn't mean it's wrong. Doesn't mean it's bad. It just means I personally can't wrap my mind around what are you celebrating? Like, it's too much money. It's a lot. Go ahead. See, here comes the
This is really feeling like truth talks right here. Let me let you know why. These are the exact things we go back and forth about. The idea that I actually absolutely understand. I absolutely understand that there's traumas and there's things they may have experienced in their own lives, like PTSD and all of these things that can lead you to picking up an unhealthy habit. I don't look at people who drink or they smoke or they do all of these things and say, my God, why do you do this to yourself? I say, what did you go through that you're hiding from? And for me, but it's all about your viewpoint. It's all about what you see. I don't.
That's be an episode.
I understand. So that concludes truth talk. I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
I mean, honestly, though, these are substance abuse issues, not just alcohol. But we have a fentanyl, we have a cocaine, we have a other drugs problem that's happening in our community. I want people to know they can come to you all and hear truth about the traumas that people are dealing with, the lack of support that people are getting in our communities, the difference in the level of support and medical care that folks get to deal with these types of problems. It's important for people to know where they can go to hear honest and unredacted conversation about these types of things. And that's exactly why I love having you guys here, because I want them to see the type of energy, the level of thought and diversity of thought that goes into putting these episodes together, how important it is and how important it is for you to tune in. You guys are on your third season, so clearly you are doing something right. You are doing something that the people need to know about, but also you people out there need to get engaged in the conversations that are happening that are shaping our nation, our Black nation, and these mainstream outlets. So really quick, I do want to ask you though, because there is a trend. I'm a sports fan. I fashion myself sports media expert. I talk about sports. I've lived in sports my entire life. That's my love. I see you with that baseball MLB cap on. I don't know if you actually really watch it because Black folks be acting like baseball too slow for them. But I'm a fan. I'm a Giants fan. Let me go on and put that out there real quick so you don't say nothing slick. But there's a trend of mainstream outlets using Black culture for ratings while sidelining Black journalists and storytellers. How do we hold these institutions accountable while damn near begging for validation? I know you talked about Shador earlier, but get into that for me.
I think the idea of it is we need to alert them that this is a problem for us. I think just like you speak and it become a problem for you, a lot of us are too comfortable in just saying, oh, I'm just a fan. I just watch the game. Oh, not enough people are actually rooted in the idea of supporting the culture. I think that's one. We need to jump in on it as a unit and say, this is a problem when it comes to this. They're going to hear you because we control the numbers. They're going to hear you because we're the majority. So they're going to look at it and say, okay, if the world is supporting Shador, maybe we should do a little better job at getting the media to support Shador as well, because it's beneficial to us. We have to make the ground shake. They say the squeaky grease gets the wheel, and that is exactly what we have to be. We have to cause the uproar. We have to, and this is a perfect space. Truth Talks is a perfect space to come and be a part of those conversations. And a lot of people are too busy sitting back with their hands folded to say we should do something about this. But I promise you, if we were to, we get the grease every single time because we control so much.
I do have to ask you, because you didn't answer the question, if you actually have a baseball team, a Sox team, or like doing? You
I
just
was a
fast
good Cubs
forward?
fan. I'm a good Cubs fan in terms of baseball. And I know everybody in Chicago gonna be like, but I'm not on the South Side. I've never been on the South Side. So for me, it's always been a Cubs. So when we won, I was out there in those streets. And I'm still flashback, and I was just talking about this the other day. Still flashback, but
shout out to Ernest Horton. He runs Black Baseball Media, and if you guys ever need any baseball aficionados, he's with the Sox also. But he runs Black Baseball Media out there and is doing a great job elevating Black players in this space because we know those numbers have dropped also.
Absolutely.
Sarah, your thoughts?
Yeah, imagine if we as Black people came together and the same way, like Demetri spoke about, we boycotted Target, where they stunted their money by over $12 billion. Imagine if we were to boycott the NFL, the MLB, the NBA. Imagine if we were to really use our power, because one of our biggest blessings and our worst curses as a people is that we are the biggest consumers in this nation, which means that every other race is counting on us to purchase and be a part of what they have going on, what they're producing, what they offer, what they sell. We literally hold it in our hands. And so if we were to come together and choose one thing at a time, because again, we're the ones putting all the money in the economy, right? That's why we don't have one. And I always talk about how, in the Asian Arab, or not in the Asian, in the white Hispanic community, a dollar will go around 5 to 6 times before it leaves that community. In the white community, a dollar will go around 8 to 9 times before it leaves that community. In the Jewish community, it'll go around 18, 19 times before it leaves that community. And in the Asian community, it'll go around 30 plus times before it leaves that community. And in the Black community, it doesn't even go around once. So our money is being spent on every other community. Imagine if we decided to say, hey, we're not going there anymore. Imagine if one of our leaders were to say, hey, we're not going to tune in to any professional football, any professional basketball, any professional baseball this entire month. Now they have to listen. These are the things that are required. And it can't just be us being pacified, because I'll tell you, we were crying and crying and crying about reparations. But hey, we got Juneteenth.
Yeah, something.
That's crazy to me. That's not after you didn't solve a single problem. We still got, we are so simple to pacify. We have all this passion and then it subsides. And it's like, when are we going to turn our passion into results? It takes making big, intentional, inclusive, and connected moves in order for us to start to see those levels of change.
Love that. I love that. Before I get you guys out of here, I do want to ask, final question. I might have a few more, but we might have to take that offline. But if Black media disappeared tomorrow, what would be the cultural and political consequences? And what do we do today to make sure that that never happens?
Oh man, if Black culture, media disappeared tomorrow, I think there would be a number of things that would shake. But I think the most primary thing is they control the entire narrative of who we are as people. Like, for example, like I said, I'm from Chicago. And if you ask anybody who's not from Chicago, we're viewed as this violent place. Chicago is one of the most beautiful cities in the world. And not too many people know, because through hip hop and media, it was shaped to be this violent town, and we are beautiful people. So I think that exact thing will happen globally. And I think it'll be less people actually, like, I'll give you a little take. I was at a Morgan Wallen concert over the weekend. I took my little brother. He's a huge fan. I'm talking about it were 2 Black people, me and my little brother, in a football stadium. Listen, the eyes, the stares, that's what the world would be. The world would take their perception that culture is actually pushing about us that's not us, and they run with it. So if you erase Black culture, it'll be no control at all. There'll be no truth talks. There'll be no place to actually congregate. And that's a very, very scary thing.
Ms. Sarah?
I don't think anyone is dumb enough to do that, because no one will watch.
Yeah.
we are the trendsetters. We set the pace. The problem is we're just okay with being puppeted instead of being the owners, which is a whole different discussion for another day. But I don't think anyone would watch it. I mean, even it's so funny to me. You know, Beyonce had the Cowboy Carter album, and people were so upset about the fact that she had a country album, not knowing that country music came from Black people. Literally everything, most things, I can't say everything, but most things have come from Black people. We are the trendsetters. Everybody gets surgeries and facials and fillers and not facials, but fillers and Botox to look like our people, you know? So I'm like, that's cute. That's a great question. But I can't even fathom it. I think people would stop watching media. It'd be like, everything would be like golf. Now the PGA golf, not live golf is fun, but PGA golf, I'm fluffy in
This is
here.
like all the golf games.
She like mini golf, maybe mini golf, drums. I don't know. Like what?
Wait, no talking, no talk. Wait, where?
But only negativity would live because they get to determine the perception of Black culture. They can still.
Wow.
You said, what if you erase us? Like if you take all of our media offline, they're gonna say this is Black people. Yep. And the world's gonna believe it.
No,
and that's what it was before. But if you listen to discourse for people that don't engage, they still have some very stereotypical ideas of who we are. That's why we're constantly having to deal with passive aggressive behavior from people that don't look like us. I'll give you an example really quick. I worked, it was a few years back, but I worked at a private sports club. And one of the ladies in my meeting, she used to stare at me all the time. Her mom was the owner. We had these meetings and she would just stare at me. And one day I just caught her because, you know, we're a little aggressive. Okay. I can get aggressive if you're being ridiculous. And I just looked at her and I said, what are you doing? And she was like, oh, I've actually never really been around a Black person before. And she was so intrigued. Girl, we were in California. In the Bay Area. This was not some foreign country. It wasn't in the sticks. It wasn't somewhere hella far out in Nowheresville. It was in Walnut Creek, California, the Bay Area. So what I'm telling you is there are still people that are isolated in their happy little lives. Even this little community that they're building, these white-only community, I'm like, fine, go. Don't nobody deal with you anyways. But my problem is then their kids are going to start wanting to be a part of mainstream culture, and our kids are going to have to deal with them. So now we're teaching our children how to deal with a new generation of idiots, a new generation of people that have been isolated. It's not that long ago that there were a lot of people that don't look like us that had never dealt with us because they thought something was wrong with us. And it is starting, we're in an era right now where it is starting again. So I do thank you all for the work that you're doing on Truth Talks, because it's important that we have these conversations and that we amplify them. And I think that's the most important part about the algorithm is that we know how to make it catch fire. So do all you want, but eventually it's going to run across your timeline. You can't avoid us because we're hot and we always have been. And that's what they're always trying to stop. But the conversations that you're having are not flat. They are not dead. They are not boring. And they are a necessity. So keep doing what you are doing. Before I let you out of here, what are you looking forward to in season 3?
Me personally? Oh, go ahead, Sarah. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Me personally, I just want to argue with Torre. I think that's my favorite thing to do. It's actually quite weird. He still called me. We still argue on the phone. No, but in all actuality, I think it's a learning experience for me. I learn. They say if you can listen more than you talk, you'll do great. And I open my ears to actually listen and learn from experience and perspectives I'm not privy to, just like most of the world needs to. I love intaking knowledge. And if you are here to learn, I'm going to tell you, listen, let me tell you where I'm going to go. You're going to go to youtube.com. You're going to /@truthtalks-live. Make sure you get there because I'm super excited for what season 3 is because it's so informative. White culture or the culture that's not us, they may push a narrative, but Truth Talks is where it gets corrected. We'll give you the real deal on how it affects us. And I think that's what I'm most looking forward to.
Awesome. Miss Sarah,
Yeah, I'm just looking forward to more heated debates. Like Demetri said, look, we definitely do not all agree. We almost started an episode today here, Tanya. Okay. We don't feel how we feel. And we've had a lot of really amazing guest hosts, like I said, DL Hewley, Mark Lamont Hill, Ebony K. Williams, Judge Lauren Lake, Mimi Faust, Claudia Jordan, Shaq, Ryan Cameron, Willie Moore Jr. And it's just all of these different people from different walks that could teach you something about them. Because even though we do bicker back and forth, we banter and we debate, it's still a family at the end of the day. We still have each other's back. And I think there's something really powerful about being able to see people disagree without attacking you personally. When you can do that, I really feel like that's when truth can stand in the gap and bridge the gap between the spectrum that there is and the differences that we have. And we can all, I don't got to agree with you. I don't agree with Demetri half the time. I don't agree, but I can still love Demetri. That's still my guy at the end of the day. So, we do air live Mondays through Fridays, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Again, it's youtube.com at Truth Talks-live. Please support Black media, okay? Because we are out here trying to make a difference and doing our best to do so by really being what this is. Truth Talks. This is Truth Tellers, hashtag Truth Tellers, right? So I'm just excited for more interesting conversations.
Love it. Okay, real quick. 3 words that you would never want affiliated with you. Start with you, Sarah.
Oh. Condescending. Nice. I'm not nice. I'm kind. I'm very kind, but I have very clear boundaries.
I thought
nice
all
is like
people were nice.
Yeah, I'll do nice. I'm like, oh no. They push over. Okay,
Drake, but okay.
But kind. I'm very kind. Look, I'll give you the shirt off my back. Okay. But you ain't about to push my boundaries. Nope. Okay. And number 3 would probably be entitled. I've worked so hard for everything.
Demetri?
Man, that's actually one of my favorite questions I've been asking a very long time. I've never thought about that.
Yeah.
But I think the first one would probably be inauthentic. I'm gonna go with absent. I think absent is a big one. Because your ability to be there, whether it's as a parent, as a friend, I live my life by that. And then the last one would probably be ugly. Don't call me ugly. You know what I'm saying?
She's like, let me show you my superficial side. Hold on.
No, but I kid. It'll probably be just to the
it can be ugly because it's okay for you to be like, look, I'm easy on the eyes.
Humble.
We already said humble.
Don't call me humble.
Listen, stand strong with your chest out. Don't be calling me ugly. My son that told my other son the other day, don't be calling me chopped. You gotta look
right.
What you looking like?
Okay, yeah. So thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it. I'm gonna make sure that all of the info for the show and for each of you and what you're doing is in the captions. I appreciate you. I look forward to the next season. If there's anything that I can do, please let me know. Tell your people to let my people know, and I got you.
Yes, we're gonna have to get you on the show. That's what we got to do.
Hey, anything I can do to support what you're doing is important, and we need it. We are raising the next generation of leaders, and I'm here for it.
Let's do it.
Thanks, guys.
Hey, thanks for showing up to the podcast where we all know that the best leaders are lifetime learners. When you get a sec, take a moment, leave a comment. What do you think about today's episode? And share it with someone that you know could use the gems that were dropped today. Follow and subscribe. You don't want to miss who's coming up next. You never know who could show up here and what they could say. For your professional needs, marketing, PR, communications, and leadership, make sure you follow us on all social media platforms at Sand and Shores or hit us up at sandandshores.com. Again, thanks so much for showing up. We appreciate you, and we'll see you soon.